Code of Civil Procedure, it mainly deals with the procedure which all the courts will adopt while dealing with the suits. This Civil Procedure Code is a uniform code which is applicable to the whole of the country. Whenever any suit is filed in any court, any suit is filed, any appeal is filed, the procedure which has been laid down in the Civil Procedure Code has to be followed. All the suits, all the appeals have to be governed by the Code of Civil Procedure. Now, as you know that criminal cases are dealt with under the provision of Criminal Procedure Code, and civil cases are dealt with under the procedure of Civil Procedure Code. So first of all, we have to see the constitution of courts. Constitution of courts are different. For civil cases, the constitution of courts are different. For civil cases, the constitution of court is at the lowest level. We are having courts of civil judge. At the lowest level. Above this, we are having courts of senior civil judge. Above this, we are having courts of district judge. Which also includes courts of additional district judge. Additional district judge. And above that, we are having High Court. Above that, we are having Supreme Court. So, this is the hierarchy of court from top to bottom. At the top we are having this court, and after that High Court, then courts of district judge, courts of senior civil judge, and at the lowest level we are having courts of civil judge. This is the inferior level of court. Inferior level of court in civil matters. In civil matters. One thing to note is this, that when we are dealing with civil cases, we use the word district judge. When we are dealing with civil cases, we use the term district judge, and when we are dealing with criminal cases, we use the word session judge. Session judge. Okay. Therefore, we are having courts of district judge and additional district judge. In criminal matters, we are having court of district and session judge and court of additional district and session judge. But in civil cases, we are having only district judge and civil judge. Instead, in criminal cases, we use the word magistrate first class. Magistrate first class. But in civil cases, we use the word civil judge. Civil judge is equal to magistrate first class in criminal cases. In criminal cases. And civil judge senior division is equal to CJ, Chief Judicial Magistrate in criminal side. So the classification of court is quite different. In criminal courts, we are having courts of Judicial Magistrate class 1, then we are having courts of Chief Judicial Magistrate, then we are having courts of Additional District and Session Judge, then we are having the courts of District and Session Judge, and then we are having the courts of High Court. In civil cases, we are having the courts of Civil Judge. Instead of Judicial Magistrate first class, we are having courts of Civil Judge. Then we are having courts of senior civil judge. In criminal side we are having at par with this is CJN, courts of CJN. Then we are having courts of additional district and session judge. But in civil cases it is termed as additional district judge. And in High Court is the same and Supreme Court is the same. So first of all we have seen the constitution of courts. This is very important to have a knowledge about it, that what is the constitution of courts. Now in criminal cases, whatever we file before the court is called complaint. Whatever we file before the court is called complaint. If you remember, in CRPC, whatever we are filing in criminal cases, they are called complaint. Complaint means any allegation which has been made before the magistrate for the purpose of taking action by the magistrate. So in criminal cases we are filing complaint before the court. In civil cases, instead of complaint, what we file before the court is suit. They are termed as suit. Cases, suit means cases, so complaint in criminal cases and suit in civil cases. This is the pattern. Now, in the CPC, you will find a peculiarity. Peculiarity is this, that you are having sections, then you are having orders, and then you are having rules. It becomes quite difficult for the student that why in CPC only we are having section, orders and rules, whereas in all other law you are only having section, while in all other law in CRPC you will find section and subsection, but not orders. In CRPC we are having these three things: section, orders and rules. Now why it is there in this subject and why not in another subject? The thing is this, as I have told you that CPC contains the whole procedure. Now this procedure, we are not having any code to define the things like in other cases. In criminal cases, the offences are defined in IPC, and the whole procedure of dealing with the cases is governed by CRPC. So we are having two things, two books we are having: IPC to define the offences and other local laws to define the offences, and procedural law is defined by criminal procedure code in this. But in civil side we are not having any separate code, so we have to define the things also in CPC and we have to give the procedure also in it. Procedure, the part of definition and procedure, both things have to be given in this same subject only. That's why we have to bifurcate the things. How we will come to know that this is a definition thing and this is a procedure thing. So all the concepts of CPC has been defined in the form of sections. In the form of section. Section basically pertains to definition part. Definition part. It basically contains to definition part, and the procedural part is contained in orders. Procedural part is contained in orders, and the step of procedure, which step you will take first, then after that what step, then after that what step, then after that what step, because all procedure has to be in a synchronized manner. So the thing you follow it, they are given in rules. Rules are basically the steps of procedure. Steps of procedure. So it means that all the definition of a concept of a thing has been given in section part. The procedure which the court follow while dealing with a suit has been given in orders, and the steps which each order will contain, first step, second step, third step, it has to be in a uniform manner. So all steps are given in rules. That's why we are having three things in civil procedure code: section, orders and rules. This is the thing, and that's why it is not required in criminal side, because whole offences are defined in IPC, and therefore the criminal procedure code only deals with the procedural part. You don't have to mix up the thing. Here the things have been mixed up, so we have to bifurcate the things. We have to demarcate the thing. We have to earmark the thing. How we? So we will demarcate the thing by these three terms: sections, definitions, orders and rules. In this manner we have. In IPC, all the offences has been different. Basically, on civil side, there is enforcement of right. Enforcement of right. Enforcement of right. This is the main purpose of filing a suit. Why you are filing a suit before a court? Because you want to enforce some right, or you want to impose some liability on another person. It only goes with enforcement, right and liabilities. Right and liabilities. In civil suits, we file civil suits before the court because we want to enforce the right. The whole purpose of filing the suit is that a party want to enforce his right which has been infringed by the other party. Or in other words, you can say that it is imposition of liability. Same thing, enforcement of right or imposition of liability. Liability means that other person will be bound to perform his liability. Enforcement of liability, enforcement of right or imposition of liability. These are the basic two things for which every suit is filed before the court. Now the question is where these rights have been defined. Where these rights have been defined. In civil side, these rights have been defined in various laws. Various laws define the right, like all property rights are defined in Transfer of Property Act. Property rights are defined in Transfer of Property Act, TPM, Transfer of Property Act. What a person is having a right in respect to property, that has been defined in Transfer of Property Act. Then contract right, contractual rights. All contractual rights are defined in Indian Contract Act. All contractual rights are defined in Indian Contract Act. Then we are having personal right. Then we are having personal rights. Third type of right is personal right. Personal rights. Personal rights are defined in Hindu law or Muslim law. Hindu law or Muslim law. Property rights, transfer of property. Contractual right, Indian Contract Act. Personal right, rights of seller and buyer, sales of goods acts, so on and so forth. So there are various rights which have been defined in different law. But when we are going to enforce this right, we will have to file a suit. Whether you want to enforce your transfer of property right, whether you want to enforce your right under the Indian Contract Act, whether you want to enforce your right under the personal law, that is marriage right, matrimonial right, property right, that is succession right, any right, you have to go under, they are divided into Hindu or Muslim law. Then any rights regarding to sale and purchase of property, it has been given as sales of goods, meaning thereby that rights are diversified in various acts, various law. But if you want to enforce these rights, or if you want to impose a liability in respect of these rights, the only way is to file a suit. And therefore, the suit will be filed only under CPC. One procedural law to enforce all the rights which are given in various laws. One procedural law for all the rights. If you file a suit to enforce a property right, same procedure which has been given, which you will study in civil procedure. If you want to enforce a contractual right, same procedure which has been given in civil procedure. If you want to enforce a personal right, same procedure which has been given under Code of Civil Procedure. If you want to enforce a right of seller and purchaser, same procedure under the Code of Civil Procedure. So from this we can say that CPC is a uniform code of procedure to enforce all rights and liabilities which have been given in various acts and laws. Because CPC is the only uniform code. Anywhere in India, if you want to enforce your rights, that is civil rights, which have been given in various laws, then you can have to file a suit in civil procedure. Now, the next thing is this: what is the stages? The problem in understanding this subject is that it is not in a synchronized manner. The thing which should have come first comes in between. Same thing which happens in Criminal Procedure Code, same thing happens here. It is not in a synchronized manner. Therefore, it becomes difficult for a student to understand this subject, because we are not having an idea, we are not having a structure. What is the structure of civil suits? What is the structure of civil suits? Now the thing is, The first thing which is required for a suit is that you should have a cause of action. Until or unless you are not having a cause of action, why and how you are going to file a suit? If you file a suit and you appear before the court, the first thing court will ask you that what is your cause of action? Why you want to file a suit? There should be some infringement of your right. Civil right, there should be some infringement of your civil right. There should be some violation of your civil right. For that you want a remedy. So first thing which is required is cause of action. Until there is a cause of action, you cannot file a suit in the court of law. The first thing which is required is cause of action. What is cause of action? It has been defined that cause of action are bundles of material facts which are placed before the court for adjudication. Cause of action means that those bundles of facts, bundles of material facts which are placed before the court for adjudication. Bundles of material fact, that is only facts, cause of action. It has nothing to do with law. Cause of action is a thing which is purely related to facts. What facts you are having on which you can say that I have been infringed, my right has been violated, I have suffered some injury. Injury means damages. You have suffered any damages. So the thing is, the first of all, you should have a cause of action. Once you have a cause of action, then you approach before the court and filed a plaint. As I have told you earlier also, that in criminal cases you file a complaint, in civil cases you have to file a plaint. That is called plaint. You have to file a plaint. Once you have filed a plaint, as soon as you filed a plaint, the court will go through the plaint and court will issue summons to the defendant. Summons to defendant. So that the defendant may come before the court and he may put forth his defense in respect to your cause of action. So an opportunity has to be given to the defendant to come and to say whatever he wants to say. As soon as the defendant appears, when summons is served on the defendant, then the defendant will appear and defendant will put his written statement. That is called reply. Written statement. Defendant will submit his written statement before the court. And he will say that what all he wants to say in respect to your plaint, he will give his answer in his written statement. When the written statement has been filed, then the court will see that what is the actual dispute between the parties. The court will see what is the actual dispute between the parties, and court will frame issues. Issues are the points which are agitated by the party, where the party are at variance. Where the party are at variance, both the parties are at variance, that thing are called issue. In every civil suit, you have to file issues, and that issues is called, that stage is called settlement of issues. Court will have to frame issues. Issues are the point where the parties are at variance. The simple example is this, that A says that I owe a sum of rupees 10,000 to B, and B say that he doesn't owe any sum of rupees to A. Parties are at variance. One party is saying that I owe rupees 10,000 to B. and B is saying that I am not taken any amount from A. The parties are at variance. Now the court will frame a issue whether B owe a sum of rupees 10,000 towards A or not. This is issue in a case, because on this point the parties are at variance. One party is saying one thing, other party is saying other thing. The parties are at variance, so settlement of issues. Then the court will settle the issues. Once the court has settled the issue, then the court will start the hearing of the suit. Court will start the hearing of the suit. Hearing of the suit. Court will start the hearing of the suit. When the court will start the hearing of the suit, the first thing the court will do is to issue summons to witness. Summons to witness from the side of plaintiff and from the side of defendant, because in the hearing of the suit the court will record all the evidence which has been given by the parties. The court will has to issue summons to the witnesses. When summons are issued to the witnesses, the witness appears before the court. The court will record the evidence of the witnesses. The court will hear the party, and after hearing the party, the court will pronounce its judgment. Court will pronounce its judgment. When court will pronounce the judgment, then after the judgment has been pronounced by the court, decree will be prepared. In civil suit, one important thing is decree. Decree is prepared by the court. Decree contains the direction of the court. It contains the operative part of the judgment of the court. What thing has actually been put into operation? What thing has actually been executed? What directions of the court has to be executed? There is always execution of decree. There is never execution of judgment. There is always execution of decree. Order 21, whole order contains to execution of decrees, because decree is the only thing which is executed by the court. Against this decree, you are having, a party is having a remedy. The party may go for appeal against the decree. The party may file a revision. These are the remedies against the decree. And if the party is not satisfying the decree, then the next part comes as execution of decrees. Then the court will execute the decree at its own. Court will execute the decree at its own, and finally the plaintiff will get enforcement of his right. So this is the whole stage, how the case travels, broad stage, not the final points, but it contains broad stage. Now, suppose this stage is plain. What is plain? If someone asks what is plain, so plain has been defined in section part. Section part, plain. Plain is the, you will see what is plain, what are the essential ingredients of a plain, all these things you will find in plain. Now the next question is, how we are going to file a plain? This is a procedural part. That how you will file a plain. This thing has been given in order. How you will file a plain, this thing has been given in order. And what will